Hi, my name's Stephen Jane. I am the photographer at Strobix Photography, based in Warwick in the UK, and today I'm going to do a product review of the Yongnuo RF-603cs. These are the wireless triggers and shutter releases that you can buy for your cameras. These particular ones fit the Canon 7D and also the 5D Mark II and III. I think they fit a few other Canon cameras, but I know they particularly work well with those models that I've just mentioned. So you can buy them for pretty much any camera, but you've got to make sure that you buy the right model. These particular ones are made for the Canon cameras, as I just mentioned. If you wanted to use them on a Nikon, you'd probably find they wouldn't work, so you've got to make sure that you buy them for the right model of your camera. Quick overview of the units themselves. So the on-off button is on here. There's two LEDs on the back, PC sync port on the very rear of the bit of equipment, and the button at the front, which is your shutter release and also focus. It works the same way as it does on the camera with the shutter release. So you press it halfway down to focus and then all the way to take the photo. Now if I just do that now, if you look at the LEDs on the back, it goes to red, and basically that means it hasn't connected with any other ones of these units, and we'll explain that in a little bit. So battery compartments in the back, takes two AAA batteries, and in between the two batteries, you probably can't see from there, but there's a series of little flick switches, so you can program these to match up with other units that you might buy. If you find yourself in a room where other people are using these, you can actually switch channels by adjusting them flick switches, have them in a different position. There's also a little port on the side here, and this one goes, you get a cable or a couple of cables with these units. This is one of them. This is your shutter release cable, so this end here plugs into the unit, and then this end plugs into your camera. Now I have a 5D Mark III here, and if we look at the camera, it's this port here to the left hand side of the camera, so we'll plug that in facing forwards. Always want to make sure the camera's switched off before plugging anything in, and indeed before putting anything on top. So the very first function that I'll show you with this particular camera is I'm just going to switch the lens to manual focus here, just so I can show you it working, so it's not going to try and focus on anything in particular. So turn the camera on, turn the unit on. Now you can dangle this over a tripod if you like, or mount it on the top, it really doesn't matter. I'll just throw it over the top there for now. Get another unit, switch that one on. Now if I now press the button halfway, you can see there's only one green LED. If I press it all the way, I don't know if you could hear that or not. Let me just switch the louder shutter on, so hopefully you can hear that. So onto single shooting, let's just try that one again. Okay, that's a definite click. So that's now a wireless remote. So if I now turn the mode switch to autofocus on the lens, press it halfway, the lens now starts to move to focus, it will lock off. If you've got the focus lock beep activated, you'll hear it beep, and then you can just take the photo. So that's the wireless setup. Now if I turn the camera off, turn the unit off, and now mount it on the top, switch it back on, turn the camera on. Now if I now press halfway, halfway again, a bit happy there, you can now probably see there's two green LEDs lighting up, which now means that we're on the camera, it's linked between the two units, and it's waiting for a signal potentially to another one of these units that could be mounted underneath a flash gun. So if I get a third one and put that underneath my flash gun, make sure you turn it on first, bit of a schoolboy error there. Make sure your flash gun is switched on. Now these are manual triggers, they're not TTL, they're not through the lens metering, so your flash gun really needs to be set to manual, so that's done there, and if it will fire, there you go. Okay, so camera's back on manual focus again, half press the button, take the photo, and it flashes remotely. For the flash to be fired remotely, you have to make sure that one of these is fitted to the top of the camera. And just to show that, if I now take this off the top, switch it back on again, half press the button, and as you can see there's still only one LED lit up there, and if I press the button to take the photo, no flash. So this unit has to be fitted to the hot shoe. Turn the camera off again, mount it back on, camera on, Yongnuo on, flash. Okay, so got to make sure one of these is up on top of the camera to be able to fire the flash remotely. And I always think it's worth buying a set of 4 of these, so you can now have you know, two flash guns going off. What you could do is you could have 3 flash guns going off with 4 units, so you have one up on top of the camera, 3 flash guns mounted to these here, and maybe you could use a self-timer on the camera to actually fire all the flashes together, and that way you can take the photograph without moving the camera once you've focused. What else can you use these for? Well, on the back here, the PC sync port, if you've got an older flash gun, or maybe a flash gun that's not compatible with your camera, an older flash gun with a higher trigger voltage maybe, that you don't particularly want to put on top of your camera, you can buy a lead that goes between here and the flash gun, and you can also trigger to studio flash as well from them. So I quite often use a lead which plugs into here and then into the jack socket of the studio flash, so I can actually trigger the studio flash by using these. Really cracking little units. Cost of them, I think they're from about £20 on Amazon for 2. You can buy them in packs of 3 and 4 as well, but well worth the money. Now, another function I've recently discovered, I use 4 of these Canon flashes, the 600X EXRTs, and I have the radio transmitter, the ST-E3-RT. Now I can put that up on top of the camera, and I can switch this mode to slave and radio. Make sure that's still on manual camera. So you know you've got a link between the flash gun and this because you've got the 2 green lights there, and also you know it's ready to flash because you've got the flashing red light on the front of the flash unit. So what I can do now is I can sit my camera on top of the tripod ready to take the shot, dangle this either over the top of the lens or over the tripod or wherever you want to be, and I can use this now to fire. Switch the camera on, always helps. I can now use this to still fire the flash. So now the Canon unit is controlling the flash either through TTL or manual, whichever way you want to use it. This basically remains as it would do without using these, so you get full functionality now of using the Canon unit, but basically you've just gained yourself a wireless remote. So without having this plugged onto the hot shoe, that's now leaving the hot shoe free to use your other accessories on, and of course if you wanted to you could also do it that way. So you can use this as a wired remote now, so you've still got this on and you've got a wireless or a wired remote. So loads and loads of different ways that you can use these. I think they're fantastic. I think they're really good and worth every single penny. I hope that helps. So I'm Steve Jane from Strobix Photography in Warwick, and the product once again was the Yongnuo Digital RF-603c, and they operate on 2.4 GHz, so they are radio transmitters, and they work, I think the range is something like about 100 yards or something, so they're pretty good, and they work in sunny weather, so you're not requiring to have like the line of sight like you would have on the infrared systems, so you also gain there as well. Well, I hope you found it useful, and look forward to seeing you on my next review. Thank you.